I think it's Monday, and more importantly, that I think it's a bank holiday Monday, isn't it? We don't have bank holiday Monday here in Spain. I mean, we have holidays here in Spain, but we don't have the same bank holidays as you guys have. So it's very confusing. And I mean, I live in confusion. So there you go. But anyway, in today's podcast show, I actually wanted to talk about deal sourcing property in the UK, because there's lots of talk about properties, and there's lots of talk about Serco taking on 5-year leases from landlords and for immigration and so on, and less properties being available for normal tenants just to go out and rent. And obviously, there's already a problem for normal tenants right now because there aren't any properties available with which people can actually rent, and so it's a massive, massive problem. And I think where there's a problem, there's opportunity. And I've always thought that. I'm 52. I've been in property for 26 years. We're selling up a lot of what we do right now. But even then, I look at some of the stuff and I'm looking at it. I'm like, there's some opportunities in there somewhere. The question is, where are those opportunities? And in today's session, that's what we're going to talk about. The opportunities that are available in deal sourcing property in the United Kingdom. Because this is the thing, right? It's not like there's a lack of demand. And the number of times I've gone through life saying, if only there was a product where there was never a lack of demand. There's only even a few industries like that. Funerals. There's never a lack of demand in funerals. It's not going out of fashion. It was never in fashion, and people dying is still happening. So all that stuff is continuing. So that that's the odd joke, isn't it? It's a dying trade, the funeral industry. But there's on repeat weddings. My dad's a wedding photographer professionally, and when he used to do lots and lots of weddings, he'd do like 6 weddings in a weekend. It was amazing. And I suppose you could say people are getting married and married less and less, and divorces are 50%, which means there's another 50% of all the people that got married. There's potentially another 50% of them that are going to get married again, potentially, right? But in property, we're always going to need somewhere to live and somewhere to sleep and somewhere to stay and all of that kind of thing. And obviously, it's an Englishman's dream, isn't it, to own your own property? And so if you are looking at finding a way of generating some income in addition to your day job without actually having to own property sourcing, deal packaging, all of those things, that's going to be a great way for you guys to go out and earn some extra cash. Now, yes, you can rent to rent. The downside of rent to rent is I think that the government is probably going to put something in place going to stop that, quite frankly. With a lot of nightmare horror stories. People are renting. You're like, it's 4 people deep before you even get to the landlord, and so that's a problem. But also, you then still have to deal with tenants and all of that fun and games of dealing with tenants. That's actually one of the reasons why we're moving out of the UK property industry, because after 26 years, I can no longer cope with the stupidity of tenants just ripping stuff off the walls, dog poo all over the walls, pea-stained carpets, never their fault. And then, you try and withhold the deposit, and the deposit company agrees with them because you can't smell wee in a picture, So anyway, we're kind of done with being landlords. And I think you should be done with being a landlord as well. It's not a fun game. There's no joy in it. There's definitely no thank yous from tenants. All you ever get, if your phone's ringing from a tenant, they're not phoning you to wish you happy Christmas or to say thank you for anything, are they? Your boiler's gone, your washing machine's gone, they've been locked out because it's 2 a.m. in the morning, they've lost their keys. We even had a guy that was stuck outside his door because he put a coat hanger he put his coat hanger on something. It might have been the door handle. And as he pulled it to, the coat hanger latched onto the door lock in some way. And when he came home at 2 o'clock in the morning, because obviously, why would it be any other time? He couldn't actually get in. So he's on the phone to me at 2 o'clock in the morning. Obviously, my phone's on silent. I'm fast asleep, dead to the world. And, it's been a torrent of abuse because how dare I wasn't awake at 2 a.m. And do you know what? It wasn't nothing to do with me. It was just him. This really weird thing had happened where he could not open his door because this coat hanger that he put behind it and it prevented him from opening it. Obviously, I'm 1,000 miles away. So who else's fault could it be but mine? Who else's fault? So dealing with tenants and all of that kind of thing, that's out. We're so done with it. And if you've I often say, if you're excited about property as a landlord, because you haven't got enough yet, You trust me, go get a 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 houses. You will soon not be excited about property. It's a pain in the backside. And so I think that deal sourcing, you have a customer for a brief period of time. Upon completion of that sale, it's done. There's nothing else to do. You've got your £3.5 grand as your finder's fee. Think about that. If you're making £300 a month from a rental, and you've got all the tenants to deal with and all those problems and insurances and councils and all the problems that you basically have as a landlord, you could do that, or you could do one, make 3,600 a year, or you could do one property sourcing deal, make your £3.5 grand that way, and not have to do anything ever again with that property. Like that, for me, bliss. And that's where we need to move people from, this idea of, oh, I need to be a landlord. No, it's not passive. There's nothing passive about being a landlord. It is a pain in the ass. Your boilers go, your washing machines go, your tenants go, your door locks go, some weird stuff happens. Boyfriend comes around, smashes it up and punches the girlfriend in the face. Then the police come. The police then think the boyfriend's in the house, and they smash the door down. Guess who's liable for that? It's not the tenant and it's not the police. It's the landlord. Who would be a landlord in 2025? And then you have all the grief on Twitter and verbal attacks. I've been physically attacked. I had a tenant's ex-husband. We evicted the tenant for non-payment. I went round to collect the keys, and the tenant's ex-husband was there. 6'2", I'm 5'7", head and shoulders above me. And he started getting a bit argy-bargy, pushed me a little bit. And I said, look, there's no need for that. And he got right in my face and said, do you want it to get to that? And, anyway, what do you do to that? What do you do to that? I tell you what you do. You put him on his ass. That's what you do, folks. That's what I did. He started it. He pushed me anyway. Got right in my face. And I'm like, I'm going to get physically attacked here. So we removed him from the situation. Let's just put it that way. But why do we even have to get into that situation? It's like, oh, no. Who wants to be a landlord? And so I still love property. I still love it. I still think property has all the opportunities. We buy and sell, and we title split, we do all that stuff. And when we buy below market value. And if you want to be deal sourcing, you're making your £3.5 grand, 10 of those will get you 35 grand deposit, maybe 20 grand deposit on a 100 grand house, 15 grand to do the house up, and then you sell it. Right? You spent 100 grand on the house, 15 grand on doing it up. Now you're going to sell it for 130, 140, whatever that's going to be. Or maybe you refinance it. But the problem with refinancing it is you're still a landlord. And the golden age of landlordism is over. Do not be a landlord. Find deals, find investors, sell the crap out of it. Right? Like, let other people do all that and have to deal with tenants and have to deal with all those problems that tenants bring. Like, you just do not want to be doing that. If you've got questions, by the way, chuck them in the box. I'm just going to have a quick drink. This is Coca-Cola, by the way. I know it looks like a cocktail, but it's an ice mug, so it's not cocktail. So if you're going to start property sourcing, going to start deal sourcing, deal packaging, whatever you want to call it, these are a couple of things you need to know. First up, let's talk about compliance. There is definitely compliance in this industry. I saw Tina Walsh, who was one of my old clients, actually, really nice. Her and Tony, really, really nice people. They run NAPSA, National Association for Property Sourcers, something. I never remember what it is. That's the official body for property sourcers. You should go join that, right? But we have lots of conversations and had lots of conversations about compliance, where you are acting as an estate agent in an estate agent's capacity. And I've had people come up to me and go, oh, well, no. You see, my friend's been doing this for 10 years and he's not got any compliance. And I'm like, well, it's illegal then. You might have been speeding at 80 on the motorway for the last 10 years. Just because you've never been caught doesn't mean it's not illegal. There's mass murderers out there who've never been caught. Doesn't mean it's not illegal, right? Compliance has a legal capacity because you're acting in the capacity of an estate agent. So you have to be legally compliant. And if you go click the property sourcing training link, which is down below, on our website, there's a really easy way of getting compliant, and you should probably go and take a look at that because it just makes life so much easier and brings the prices right down. So take a look at that. But you have to be compliant, and there's no such thing as being joint compliant. You can't say, well, my friend's compliant, and therefore I'll work as a partnership with him. That's not how it works. You have to be either compliant or you have to be an employee of that organization, because the organization is compliant and you are a subsection of that as an employee. Do you think the government can tell if you're an employee from a company or not? You know, PAYE, PAYE, pay as you earn taxation. Where's your pay slips that says that you're employed by that company? Now, you haven't got them. Most people haven't got them, right? Because they're not an employee. Therefore, you have to be compliant. And it's not grey. It's black or white. It's one or the other. You're either an employee or you're compliant. And if you're neither of those things, you are acting in an illegal manner and an unethical manner, I would suggest. Because this is the thing. If you're going to go into deal sourcing, property sourcing, deal packaging, why would you not want to do it properly? Why would you not want to go into it and get fully compliant, get your website in place, get all your business cards done, dress the part, act the part, talk the part, do all the training, get all the compliance? Why would you not want to do that? Because anything less than that, you're just playing at it, right? And if you're playing at it, so if I want to become a professional hockey player, don't play hockey, and I play in the five-a-side Sunday tournament. I know there's more people than 5 in the hockey team, but let's just say, and I've got my cricket bat because I'm playing hockey. And do you think that's going to help me become a professional hockey player? No. I have to eat, sleep, and drink hockey. I need to learn how to play it. I have to watch all the Michael Jordan videos. I have to. Look, I am aware. I play basketball, right? I'm aware. But I have to do all this stuff. I have to get really serious about it. I have to watch what I eat. I have to hit the gym. I have to learn to skate, probably. I have to know all these things. And I read the rule book. I'm one of a few basketball players who became qualified ref, became a qualified coach, and had a copy of the rule book. Do you think I might know some of the little secrets to help you win games because I learned all that? Absolutely. And hours and hours and hours of practice. And if you want to become anything in life, you have to commit to that process. And by not getting compliant, you are absolutely not committing to that process. How possibly could you think that success is going to come from cutting corners? It doesn't. Like, our digital marketing agency is doing very well, but boy, it's taken a lot of work. How many live streams? I think we're 950 live streams, like podcast shows. Think about that, 950 podcast shows. I think that's what we're up to. I don't know what it is, but it's 945 or 946, something like that. That's a lot, right? That's how many it takes for you to get something moving. It's not just something you go, this weekend, Matthew, I'm going to be a property sourcer. Oh, look, 14 deals. Aren't I a millionaire by next weekend? How nice. It doesn't work like that. Honestly, I promise you, I wish we could just go out and be whoever we want to be and magic happens and we get this and that and the other and it just works. And we're all multimillionaires and we could all have private yachts. That'd be awesome. I wish we could do that, but we can't. We have to work the hours and we have to get compliant and we have to be professional and we have to get our business cards. We have to get our website and our leaflets done. Let's talk about leaflets, because one of the things we want to talk about is actually finding deals. Leaflets is a great way of finding deals. And, I speak to people. How many leaflets have you dropped? Well, I dropped 600 today and I'm going to drop another 400 tomorrow. I'm like, dude, you might as well just not bother. Just go to the pub and have a pint and some peas and a pie. Because like dropping 1,000 leaflets over 2 days, you ain't going to close anything. You might get really lucky. You might get the one person who's just sat waiting for your leaflet, and that's the only leaflet you drop that day, and you've got your first deal. You might get lucky like that. But on average, it just doesn't really work like that. You've got to be dropping, minimum 1,000 a day over 5 days. That's 5,000. So a minimum 20,000 a month, I would suggest. That is your minimum, by the way. Like if it's 10,000, 500 a day times 4 weeks, 10,000. You're going to get a deal. Probably not is the answer. You might get lucky because, as I say, you just need one person to go, I'll sign up for that. You can have my house, right? You might get lucky, but on average, we don't get lucky, right? Life is hard. Life is not just sat there waiting to chuck us results. Here's some luck. Not just walking down the street and, oh, God, that was lucky. Here's a person who needs to sell their house quickly for cash at 25% below market value. Wow, here's another person who wants to buy. That's not life. Life is really hard. You drop your 20,000 leaflets, you don't get any responses. That's life. And so what do you do when that happens? Because inevitably it will, right? You double down. You drop 40,000 leaflets. And what happens if nothing happens on that? You double down, you drop 80,000 leaflets. And then you might be going, well, Dan, that's really expensive. In which case you need to go get yourself a second job, right, to pay for the leaflet drops. These are the sacrifices and the commitment. And I don't think we talk about this enough. I think we go on a weekend course and everyone's happy clapping and we're, woo, yeah, we're all dancing around to Bucks Fizz and Boney M and Tina Turner. You're simply the best. And we're feeling amazing. We've done the firewalk. We've broken arrows with our throats. And we go home and, oh, well, I've got 400 leaflets today. It's like, it's never going to work. Like, life is really hard. The chances are it's not going to work unless you put in 100% of the effort. And even then, you might get really unlucky. It might not work. You've got to double down again, double down again. And you've got to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. It is so easy to, you know, I use a diet analogy because that's what I'm going through right now. Like, you know, I've put 5 kilos on in the last last 3 months since February. Yeah, about 3 months, right? And it's like, oh, I watch what I eat almost every day, and the second that I don't, poof, the weight piles on. And then it takes another 2 to 3 months to get rid of that weight again. Like, literally, that's what life is. And obviously, I'm older, I'm 52, the body doesn't work as it normally does. I do CrossFit 5 days a week and so on, right? So even though I'm doing everything else right, I don't get the food right, I don't get the body. But think about that from a deal sourcing perspective. You've got your business cards, you're doing networking events, you're even dropping leaflets. Wonderful. How are you answering your phone? Well, it just goes through to my mobile. I had 4 missed calls yesterday because I was driving and I couldn't answer them. Right, so where did those calls go? No, I don't know where they are. I've tried to phone them back, but they didn't answer. Right, so you're doing all the work because you missed out on one small thing, which is getting the phone answered, which is why we suggest you use like an old APA, so you never have to answer the phone. Somebody else will answer it for you. And if you get deluged with 10 phone calls all at the same time, all 10 will get answered, right? So even though you've done all of this and it's working really well and you're generating phone calls, if you're not able to get the phone answered, to be able to return those calls, to be able to get into a conversation, to even be able to have a conversation about, right, Mrs. Smith, what's going on in your life? What's the problem that you have that you're looking to solve right now? You've got this property. What's the postcode? Okay, check on Rightmove. How's that going? Why do you need to sell? What's the purpose? Okay, and you know, what is that conversation? Is what I'm getting to here. If you can't get that bit right, all this other stuff that went before it is wasted. So you've got to get every single piece of this done right. And the analogy I like to use is that of baking a cake. I baked this cake. I've done everything perfect, and it's not worked, and I don't know why. Where's your eggs? Oh, no, I didn't use eggs. Well, you need eggs. Yeah, no, I didn't use them. Right, well, that's why your cake's shit. That's why it doesn't work. What? Oh, I need all the ingredients, do I? That's exactly right. You need all the ingredients. So when you're finding deals, you've got to be putting your marketing out there. You've got to be raising your standard in terms of how you show up. You've got to be demonstrating your expertise and your knowledge. You've got to be demonstrating your trustability, the KLT as we call it, the know, like, and trust factor. You've got to be authentic when you're putting content out and doing live streaming and all of that kind of thing, and 950 podcasts or whatever we're up to. You've got to do all of that. And then when you get the phone call, you've got to know how to speak to people. If you've never role played those conversations, you should find somebody to role play those conversations with. Because all deal sourcing really is you finding a buyer and introducing that deal once it's packaged up properly and you've run the numbers properly to an investor. And then you put these two together, that's where the money gets made. And most people, they do it completely wrong. This is where the training, 27 quid down below, that's where that comes in. Remember what I said right at the start? Immerse yourself into learning, into networking, into marketing. Find out everything that you can. Get compliant. Don't hold back from anything. Like, commit to the process. I see so many people, they have all the scuba gear, with the mask and the snorkel and the oxygen tanks and the fins. I won't call them flippers, the fins. And they turn up and they go to the sea and they dip the toe in the water and they go, oh no, that's not for me. And I'm like, you've got everything. You've got all the gear. Immerse yourself. And I'm not talking about scuba diving here, am I? Immerse yourself into what it is that you're trying to achieve. Immerse yourself into it, right? You see the hand signals there. Immerse yourselves into it. Okay, so how do you find motivated sellers? I mean, we talked about it. Leaflets for me is number one, right? And leaflets have worked so well, and really got to be dropping 20, 30,000 people. And then how do you find like cash buyers? Well, give me a definition of a cash buyer. What is a cash buyer? It's someone who's got loads of cash, right? Where do you think you're going to meet those? You can put the comments in the comment box just while I grab a quick drink. So where do you think you're going to meet cash buyers? Where do wealthy people hang out? Charity events, including charity balls. I love the horse racing one. Getting yourself in the VIP pen in the horse racing. Got a very funny story about that. We have told it a few times on podcast. We won't tell it again today. Absolutely very drunk, shall we say. Anyway, it's very funny story. But like horse racing, Ferrari dealerships, luxury car events, luxury anything event, right? Find places where people have money. Where do you think people with money don't go? That's a good one. What about property networking events? Do you think the people who go to a property networking event have got 100 grand that they're looking for their next deal? What do you think? Like, you would imagine so, wouldn't you? But if you've ever done networking events, you would know that nobody there actually has any goddamn money. They're all skint as anything. Nobody has any money. They even don't buy you a pint. Yeah, you know, the number of times where they're like, "Oh, you pay for this, Dan," you know, because they have no money. So you got to put yourself into a location where these people are. So now we've got people who want to sell. You've got some cash buyers. They don't have to be cash buyers. You've got some investors though, people who want to actually buy. Now, how do you package these up? So you take the property and then you've got to run the numbers. And the way that we do it is we demonstrate what the numbers are going to look like potentially, and based on the 80% mortgage at 5% or whatever the interest rate happens to be. This is what we think it would rent for. If you wanted to HMO it, because it's not in Article 4, this is what we think you get per room. Then we would package that up with pictures to make it look really nice. Now, you have to seal this with contracts, because if you send somebody a property and they're able to work out where it is, they've not signed a contract with you and they know where it is, they're going to go directly to the owner and go, "No, don't use him, he's an idiot, you need to use us." And they're going to screw you on that deal. It's one of the things we include in the property sourcing training is the NDA contract, because and the process of contract, including memorandums of sale, because it's so important to not only find a deal and not only find an investor, but to not have that property stolen from you. But one thing massively important that I need to say in the property world is that it is full of sharks. Excuse me. And I'm not just referring to the trainers on the stage at those weekend events. Maybe I am, who make all their money from training instead of actually being a landlord for 26 years. So you've got to find a way of packaging up the deals in such a way that an investor, it answers all of those questions. Like, put yourself in the investor's shoes. And if you're an investor, what would you want that to look like? And that is really it. That is deal sourcing 101. And this is the thing. And we kind of harked on about this really. You've got to commit to this process. And if you don't commit to the process, then the results that you get will be the results of somebody who hasn't committed to the process. If I want to lose that weight, if I want to grow muscle, which is harder as you get older, I have to hit the gym. I have to work out. I have to eat properly. And if you're a sourcer, you've got to find wealthy people. You've got to find methods of marketing to find deals. And you've got to learn how to put all this together. And that's really what the £27 property sourcing training is. So if you're interested in that, go and take a look. And in the meantime, if you've got any other questions, you can always hit me up on Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or, well, TikTok. I'm even on TikTok these days. I don't dance. But if you've got any questions, go and ask away, and we'll catch up with you on the next live stream. I hope you found that useful, and I hope you have a great week, and we'll